Hi guys. So I wanted to make this video because I really want to explain my true feelings about how I feel about the so-called quote-unquote alt-right or the current status of the far-right movement and what that means right now. Uh, I really had it with everyone in the alt-right and everyone I know. I really don't have it seems like all the people in the alt-right I know are basically druggies, alcohol, people who are just into bad boy culture, promiscuous sex, and gamers, both video gamers and POA gamers. People who don't sincerely believe the right wing or the white advocacy message as being honest, as if this is just something to make me look bad. There are people in the movement who are using it as a tool of preening. And I was very upset that I made a video based upon my own reflections and reactions against my local alt-right scene who I've had it with and who I'm angry with and who I just all called hipster racist and whatnot. And I was so angry about that. If you look right now, we now hear that Eli Mosley, who is Richard Spencer's lieutenant, or supposedly, according to the New York Times, lied about his military history. Now, I assume he probably lied for good reasons, or he's just a pathological liar, and you have to do that to have some credibility, or he maybe has social problems. I don't know. But people use Eli as that character. And this is what I was saying, too, that the Richard Spencer and the alt-right corporation has become this kind of crashing train, has become this it's the controlled opposition. It makes everything worse, and it's creating this bad. There are legitimate reasons to leave any activity in the far right and white advocacy or whatever you want to call it. I think now the word alt-right is tainted. It's a corporation. It's Richard Spencer's people, And this is what I'm sick about. There's these people who, meanwhile, Spencer could be saying this, and then he's doing drugs or snorting coke on one end, and it just freaks me out. And I've said some other things, too, about everyone else. I think the only good person left is Jared Taylor. And originally, I was going to be on the Matt Forney show to talk about how disgruntled I was and angry about everyone. It's like, I've had it. That's that. And all of a sudden, someone came in and said, "Don't do that. Don't go on Matt Forney's show. You're just going." And there was a change of heart there. And I told this person, I was very upset. I was angry. I just didn't like everything going on, and I still don't. And I wish people would be more honest with their actions. But then, after a conversation, I started to realize that, well, everybody in the quote-unquote alt-right and this far-right sphere are fucking nuts and are crazy and retarded and stupid. And it's hard to find good people. And this is a lesson I think I'm now learning and understanding. And this whole Eli thing basically puts all things in perspective for me. Now, yesterday, I could have been on the Matt Forney show and said, yeah, the fucking drug addicts and gay white nationalists and stupid people who I know and just make my life worse, and they pick on me because they think I'm socially inept or mentally unstable, it's pathetic and it's true, but it's again, I thought about it, and with this person, well, you're causing more harm, and it's a self-destruction thing. Think about when Richard Spencer goes on his Twitter and he has the next alt-right target to shoot at with his gun. And he says, I'm Richard Spencer, you're stupid, and you're out. Until he himself might fall down, like this is a crash. Now, I could say good things about, I personally don't know Richard Spencer, but the times I was in contact with him, he seemed like a normal person. But then again, it's a train wreck. And you kind of have to respect people's spaces. It's hard. It's really easy to assume there's this high school mentality. And if you're outside the high school mentality, well, you're out of the club. And this is, I think, a lesson I've learned. And the lesson I've learned is, well, individuals are individuals. Adam Parfrey is going to be an eccentric Hollywood nutcase who once did Feral House, and he's really agitating to get along with. And Jim Goad is going to be psychotic when you call him names. He's gonna stalk you because he's nuts and he wants to fight with people. And people are going to make their careers their career and do their own thing. But if you're really invested and you really believe that the far right or the white advocacy thing, as Jared Taylor says, is something to invest in, then you're going to believe that it's a moral good message, it's a Christian message. Now, how I got into this, I was a teenager and it was shock art. But now the shock art has become normified and a lot more people are getting into this. But the problem is there's good reasons why it's a stupid, bad, people call it racist normies. They think everything, it's racist, it's stupid, you're mean people. Well, the truth, the fact of the matter is those normies might be right when it turns out to be like that. Every other person is a nut job and nutcase and backstabber. And it's sad to understand that. And that's why I've been distancing myself and having no connections at all with the alt-right. Now, there are some things I like about right-wing literature, but the truth of the matter is it's like getting to the adult industry in pornography. I have two friends who are into the adult industry in porn, and it's a crazy world. You can hear everything what Luke Ford has to say on the subject, but we're all united to make porn? No, everybody's a nut job in the porn world. And the same thing you could say is about this far right thing. And it's hard to be a good person. It's hard to be a good role model. And everyone has their own problems, including myself. And I make this video because since the whole Eli thing and my own, I've had it. I just want to hate on people because everyone is childish. Everyone is in this high school mentality. And everyone has this in-group of people. But if anything really authentic and honest is to happen, is you have to give a platform to those people. And that includes giving platform to people who are then going to be hostile against you. And this is what I find confusing. And I just scratch my head over this. Why in the world would an organization like some far-right organization give a platform to, say, a person like Eli, and then all of a sudden, oh, that's not what I really am? Or the upset thing was the hope not hate thing with that guy. And it still scratches my head that he would go into the scene, say he's gay and this and that, and, snowflakeism, and then hate on everyone or dox everyone. I just don't understand. That is the collapse of where it's easy to trust, and it's just like, what is to make of this? It's really hard, and it's like people are doing their own perversions, and it's hard to get the message across. And I think it requires more of an individual ability for people to understand what more is happening. It's not just there's a flaw or something like that. It's a mentality that people have. Now, some people have said, well, there needs to be a Freemasonry. Well, okay, but that would only be for elites, and that still propagates a high school mentality. And I do have criticisms for everything of this far-right thing. It gets a lot of views, and now people are cashing in on it to get the views. And there's more things being published on the so-called alt-right that I disagree with now. That, in a way, I think I'm just an ex-leftist, or a new kind of leftist that's being born and taking in what realities matter. Like the whole, people call it red pill or anti-SJW. Those things are matter, if you want to call it civic nationalist or whatnot. But again, I make this video is because this is kind of my apology to stop being so self-destructive and so angry like I've been in the past. And I have anger issues. But I just can't stand some of these idiot people in the alt-right who are negative influences. And I declare right after this video that I am going to have a network of friends that I like and that I relate to, and I will not tolerate stupid shit like verbal abuse and substance abuse and liars and weird people who are just, that make me feel uncomfortable. Now I could tell other people this is what I experienced. And if I say that this has to do with that's actually something happening or a block in the greater good, I will talk about that. That's exactly why Roosh V has his YouTube streams about what he calls trad thoughts, about how girls get into this alt-right movement, and then, well, they're girls, and they'll just use their sexuality as a tool, you know? And that's not real authenticity. And people latch on more to Roosh, and then it becomes this whole self-destructive thing. And that's maybe the realities of things, but if you really want to be a part of something, make your own divisions and be friendly with people, but know what true friends are, and make up your own scene and do it from there, because it's a learning experience. And that's what I strongly, it's a learning experience. And there are a lot of I think everyone in the alt-right I completely detest, and I could say they're a bunch of racists and that I don't want anything to do with them. I could easily say it that, and everyone has done that. And it's true that there's hardly anyone left. And, well, I, at the same time, am an anti-liberal, and I strongly believe that, well, there needs to be some anti-liberal movement going on in some different avant-garde art scene, and I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to have my own connections. And I guess that's an individual quest everyone has to find. You have to get away from the groupthink and the high school mentality and do your own thing. But at the same time, try to call out. Certainly you'll call it gossip and self-destructive, but try not to be so self-destructive and nihilistic about it. Do your own thing and get the greater good across, is what I'm trying to say.